Hello and welcome. Today we're going to do things a little differently. Today I'm going to play Horace. It's a platformer. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see how this goes. A little out of my style, but I figure we'll give it a shot. It was free in the Epic Store. Ooh. Horace EXE. What is that? Oh. He's still using dial-up. Oh, look at this guy smoking a cigarette. He's like, hey man, I'm smoking. I'm on a break. Oh shit. Oh, he's like, come here. I'm coming. A little slow.
And so, I was born. The first people I remember seeing were the old man, the old lady, and their daughter, Heather. After they'd said hello, the old man powered me down so he could install some software. I could tell they were nice people. The old man didn't give me a silly voice or stupid personality. And the old lady didn't dress me like a clown. Although for some reason, Heather really didn't like me.
Well, that's not nice.
Once I'd had time to get used to walking, the old man asked me to dash from one end of the room to the other. Next, the old man spent a couple of hours building some wooden platforms. He said he wanted me to jump up them, but I must admit, I was scared. It wasn't until I saw Heather and her mother happily climbing up them that I decided it might be okay. The old man then rearranged the platforms. He told me to try to reach the other end of the room without touching the floor. Heather said the floor's made of lava. But when I smiled at her, she just frowned and looked away. The old lady arranged some pillows and blankets. She said it was in case I fell, but I think she just wanted it to look more like lava. When I reached the other side, the old man just smiled and said, "That'll do, for now." couple of days after those first lessons, the family had a big meal, and I was introduced to everyone else. The professor was the old man's brother. He was very quiet, and always seemed to just kind of stare at me. He had lived with the old man for 5 years. The house was so huge they barely saw each other. He preferred instead to stay in his room, leaving everything up to his butler, Mr. Deck, as he insisted everyone call him, although the professor always called him Anton. For a while, he called me a yellow bastard, but the old man made him stop, as he thought it sounded racist. Mr. Silton was the old man's driver. Before he worked here, he'd gotten in with some bad people and was the driver in a post office robbery, although it all went wrong for some reason. Mr. Silton showed me a video of his band. I'm sure some people must like it, but I just found it terrifying. Then there was Alice. She was the cook. She was a nice old lady. When she was younger, she had been a TV chef. Then, years later, she had a small part in Coronation Street. Mr. Silton said, before she worked for the old man, Alice was quite a hoarder. She kept old newspapers and bicycles. And something about a poo in a shoebox.
Poo in a shoebox?
The next morning, the old man gathered everyone together to show them what I was capable of. "What else does he do?" asked Mr. Silton. The old man smiled. "He can help around the house." "Could he help me with my newspaper collecting?" asked Alice. I'm not sure that's a good idea," said the old lady, "but he can do all sorts of jobs." "Yeah," said Mr. Silton, "shove a stick up his ass and he can do Deck's job." Now, said the old man, "we have company," pointing to some important-looking people. 2 large men, both called Gary, set up what the old man referred to as lasers. He said again, I should try to get from one end of the room to the other, but I shouldn't be worried, as I had a special chip which meant no matter how damaged I was, I couldn't die. He said it was like infinite lives in a video game. But when he realized I didn't understand, he said he would explain another time.
Video game. Alright, what do we got? Man.
Everybody clapped, except the important-looking men. "Not exactly a cold, calculated killer, is it?"
supposed to be a
said
killer?
the man in black. The man in grey laughed. "What kind of artificial intelligence was that?" he asked. "Move right, unless there's something in the way." Okay, said the old man. He turned to me and whispered, "They're going to make it quite a bit tougher. But I'm sure you'll be fine."
Sure I will. No. I'm sure I could do this, right? Yeah. I was just late. Yeah.
The Garys then rearranged the room one last time. The old man smiled. Now, there's no need to look so glum, he said. "I'm still happy with everything you've done today."
Oh yeah, their heads
So
get
this
squishy
time,
and can't
I
get
was
pushed in, huh?
determined to do him proud.
What? That's done? Oh no. Unless you're playing with it. You're welcome. Alright, let's see what's going on here.
The old man's friends actually seemed quite happy when I made it through. We might have a winner after all, said the man in black. It's no Killbot 3000, but you can almost see the fire in its eyes. A couple of days later, the old lady said she had a surprise
they want
for
me to be a killer.
my own room.
Nice.
She also wanted to play me some music. I wasn't sure after what Mr. Silton had shown me. As if music wasn't amazing enough, the old lady then bought me a television set. I couldn't believe what I saw. I watched everything I could. Comedy, drama, horror, sci-fi. Anything anyone wanted to watch I would happily watch with them. Then one day, the old man set up a small box. He plugged some cables into the television and said, "This is what I meant when I said video
an
games."
Xbox?
I played games at every chance I could. I took on
Oh, it looks like
everyone.
you got all sorts of consoles.
I was unstoppable. I had enjoyed music, film, and television. But to me, video games really were the highest art form.
Oh, cool. Oh. There we go.
Heather's birthday was a couple of months later. Her mum and dad had bought her a camera and arranged a day out by the sea so that Heather could take some photos, although I really don't think she wanted any pictures of me. When the old man asked
She's
the
all
professor if he wanted to go, he frowned and said, "I can't believe you want to spend time with that thing. It could destroy the world." I wasn't sure what he meant, but the old man just smiled and said, "That's what you said about the Game Boy." And on, "How about you?" "I don't think so," said Mr. Deck. "The last time I got in that car, Barry crashed us into a branch of Woolworths. I never would have gone into Woolworths of my own accord." The old man explained that the car was old and the brakes had failed, but Mr. Deck was having none of it. So Mr. Silton drove, and Alice came along for the fresh air. I enjoyed being outside. Although, the old lady kept telling me to be careful of the rickety old walkways. It felt like she was telling me off, but I think she was just concerned. As the old man and I stood on the cliff tops, I could see something in the distance. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked the old man. He said it was a battleship that had sunk in the 1940s. But he looked so sad when he spoke about war.
Where's that? Hawaii?
I didn't see what happened, but the metal platform Heather was climbing on had collapsed. She was safe, even if the rocks she was on looked very dangerous. The tide was rising, and we didn't know how long the Coast Guard was going to be, so I offered to climb down and get her. The old man agreed, but said I should be careful, as Heather doesn't have infinite lives, like I do.
You got it. Alright, what do we got here?
Heather was
Nice.
unconscious, and her leg was broken, so I picked her up as gently as I could. I decided it would be best if I didn't run the rest of the way.
Oops. Wrong button. We're coming out.
An
Yeah.
ambulance had arrived by the time I had made it back to the cliff top. The medics made sure Heather was okay,
We only killed her
and
once.
then took her off to hospital. A few days later, we all went to see how she was doing. She was fine, but would have to wear the cast for a couple of months.
Oh, that's good. She smiled. Takes me to save your life for you to like him. Robot saves local girl. Mechanical man. Hero robot. Hero robot.
Once Heather
Alright.
got to know me, we became good friends. We enjoyed the same films and TV. She was also annoyingly good at some of my favorite games. After a while, she became very interested in how I worked. Soon she knew as much about me as the old man did, if not more. We spent the next couple of months visiting other countries, as when it came to teaching me things, the old man always liked to pick interesting locations. He had explained the basics of mathematics to me at the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Taught me history in the dead of night, surrounded by mysterious giant stones.
The
And even
Stonehenge.
showed me science in action high up in a hot air balloon.
Whoa.
This is why I was surprised when the old man took me to a restaurant. It was nice, but it seemed very somber compared to the previous grand locations. He said he just wanted to chat, and this was nice and quiet. Plus it was his favorite place to eat. We talked about life, the universe, Douglas Adams, everything really. When I asked him why were we here, why did we exist, he just smiled and said, life is like a game, just don't expect to be finished anytime soon. When I looked puzzled, he said, well, everyone should have a purpose. So I asked him, what's my purpose? He thought for a bit, then said, so you want to be a real boy?
I want to
Which
be a
just
real
confused
boy.
me even
I'm
more.
like Pinocchio.
Eventually the old man said, for now, I want you to help clean things around the house. I must have looked unimpressed, as he then said, okay, I want you to clean 1,000,000 things. It didn't sound
Okay.
like the meaning
I gotta
of
clean a
life,
million things.
but I suppose you've got to start somewhere.
man can't have everything. Where would he put it? Learning my purpose.
The next day, the old man said he wanted to install some more software, so he powered me down. When I came to,
Now what do we got?
he said Mr. Silton had a joke for me, and that I should pull his finger. I don't think I got the joke. So the old man powered me down again. This time when I pulled Mr. Silton's finger, I got the joke. But it wasn't very funny. The old man then explained that he had installed a special chip which allowed me to clean away anything that was broken. He said it also tells me how many things are nearby, and how many smaller things are in a bigger thing. It all sounded very complicated, but he said all I really had to do was pause, and it would bring up all the information I needed. He then said he wanted me to find and clean all of the items in the room. He told me there would be some chains to climb, but that would be nice and easy, as I just had to press up. He then finished by saying, when I had collected all the items, I should come back here.
You got it. So what's escape do? Oh, 135 junk. To get that car? Is the car junk? It is. So. There's nothing over there? Okay. I think I got all that stuff. Is that it? And there's some more somewhere, huh? Oh, there you go. Is that all of it? Oh wait, I just hit escape. No, there's 5 pieces still. Where the hell is it at? Where did I forget the junk? You guys see it anywhere? Is there like... Is that the very beginning or something? Oh, there it is. Haha. Yeah.
The old man then asked the old lady Heather and I to follow him outside. I was happy too, as it was a lovely hot day. The old man said he was worried that Alice had been hoarding again. She had filled up a small barn with old bicycles and newspapers. Heather said this would be a perfect chance to properly test my new powers. The old man thought for a second, then said, using the steptoe chip, I should find and clean at least 300 things. When we explained to Alice what we wanted to do, she seemed scared. But after the old lady kindly explained that, well, the barn was starting to smell, she said it would be okay. One last thing, said the old man. If you
Because
want
she's
to
a
use a
hoarder.
door, just push up. When I was about to enter the old barn, Mr. Silton said he had seen some mushrooms growing inside. He asked me to give him any that I found. He then winked, but I wasn't sure why.
Alright, man, I'll see if I can find any mushrooms for you. What's in here? Oh, junk. Oh, there's some mushrooms. I'll get there in a second. Oh, there's some more. Oops. Accidentally pushed up. Alright, all junk collected. What? I found more junk, yo. This is just that room back there. Ah. No. Okay, remembers what you got, though. Come on, car. Got all that? Okay. I think that's it, right?
The old man was very
Alright, that
happy
was it.
with everything that I had cleaned. But I think Mr. Silton was even more happy with his mushrooms.
Oh yeah, I bet he is.
It wasn't the days getting shorter, or the evenings getting colder. It was the falling leaves that really
Fall.
made me feel sad. As we watched the trees blowing in the breeze, the old lady said, "The leaves must fall before the blossom comes." She had already explained the seasons to me, so for once, I actually understood. But it
No, I'm just
didn't make
recording
me
now.
feel any better.
I'm recording though.
The old lady obviously had enough of my
Not
moping
streaming.
and said, "Right, next week we're
You
going
are?
to have a party." For some reason she insisted that we were all going to wear costumes. Heather was very excited and said, "I've got some perfect ideas."
It's Halloween. Oops.
It was terrifying. Everyone was dressed like someone else. I think I was meant to be some kind of pumpkin, as everyone kept shouting, "It's the Great Pumpkin." Still, at least Mr. Silton was having fun telling everyone his joke. And I suppose Heather's costume was quite flattering.
Aw. She wanted to be
After
him.
what seemed like forever, everybody left, and things got back to normal. Heather was allowed to watch a scary film before she went to bed, but I had to help Alice and Mr. Deck clean up.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
I wasn't happy about this, but the old man said if I was quick, then I could watch the end of the film with them.
Acting like a child.
Alice was vacuuming, and Mr. Deck was taking down the decorations. So I thought I should clean up the plates and glasses. The ear-splitting sound was the fire alarm. As usual, Mr. Deck blamed Mr. Silton, saying he was probably smoking one of his jazz cigarettes.
Jazz cigarettes.
But then the professor appeared. He said that there was something burning in the kitchen. Alice looked confused, saying that she hadn't cooked anything since the morning. We were all surprised when Mr. Deck opened the oven. Inside was a large black cloak and a slightly burnt pair of men's underwear. Suddenly the old lady burst in. She looked terrified. She kept shouting, "There's someone on the roof." When we went outside, it slowly became obvious that it was Mr. Silton. He was completely naked and playing his guitar. He shouted down,
"He's high.
When I finish this song, I'm going to fly."
Them
the old
shrooms,
lady
man.
said, "Oh my God, I know this one. There's only about 30 seconds left." The old man
Oops.
then quickly turned to me and said, "You know
Can't
what
touch
to do."
anything. Oops. Ah. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm rushing right in. Okay, there we go. That was a jump.
By the time I had made
There we
it
go.
up to the roof, Mr. Silton was beside the edge. I tried to calm him down, but he was acting even more bizarre than usual.
Oh my God. Hey, it's okay, bud. Local idiot. Hear about it. Say it again.
After an hour or so, Mr. Silton was fine. He said he had eaten some bad magic mushrooms. Part of me wondered why he hadn't doubled in size. Still, he was soon laughing and joking with the paramedics.
That's good.
One of them said he looked like the world's worst clown. I don't think Mr. Silton liked that. So he told his own joke. But that just made the other paramedic call him Marshmallow Marceau. I don't think he liked that either. But at least he was still in one piece.
Right.
A
That's
month
cool.
or so later, Heather and I were playing video games, when the old man said he wanted me to come outside. He said it had been a year since I had arrived, so he had a present for me. He placed the teddy bear high up on a wooden platform. He then told me I should try to pick it up.
I can't reach that unless I can double jump now. On the house.
Try as I might, I couldn't reach the teddy bear. However, I still don't understand what happened next.
Did he die? Oh no. Did he die? He's up on my finger. Aw, even he's a little sad. It was like her son. Oh my goodness. What the hell? Please, I'll hear your turn. What? That's not gonna fix the robot, dude. Yeah, that probably just broke him real good. Wow. They're all at the old man's funeral. As this guy's literally getting destroyed. Yeah, it's like he just died too. Wow. That was a surprise. Can I move? No, sorry. I thought it was up to me. Oh shit, the days are going by. Oh no, so everyone's growing up. The little girl is growing up. The old lady's probably dead. Like, days are going by. Holy shit. This is something else. What was that, cruising? Cruising the USA. It was an awesome game.
Was I dead?
Oh.
Was this heaven? It sort of looked like the basement bathroom.
We're alive?
It was the shoes the old man was going to give me. I thought I might as well put them on. They were just the right size. The old man's hat fit me pretty good as well. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I wore it.
Heck no, you look good, Horace.
Amazingly, the shoes allowed me to defy gravity.
Whoa.
Or maybe it was the hat.
Nice. Nothing is beautiful from every point of view. My world ripped apart. Thank you for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Mixer, Twitter, Instagram. Hope to see you in the next episode.